Greetings and welcome to the Fantastic News Network. Today is January 20th, 3024, and welcome to the place where you will be trapped in a tangled web of lies, deception, misinformation, and disinformation. So, uh, last time I hinted that we'll be talking about Hitaya. Well, we lied. What's new? Um, so we're not going to do that. But if I lie and I told you that I'm lying, does it make it a lie? Does it make me a liar? Let me know. So the topic of today is going to be more elaboration about the words, specifically Irope, Vespuccia relationships. And for that, let me pull up the map. Hold on. And we're back. So let's see the map again. This is Vespuccia. This is Irope, Rassi. And so let's talk about uh, the victim here, which is Irope, using a crane as uh, a hammer to destroy it as a uh, reason or so. Irope existence after the Great War of 2945 ended. It was in shambles, and the western part was taken over by Vespuccia. And under the guise that they want to stop having more wars in Europe, they deployed their troops everywhere. They made an alliance, supposedly, which is a one-way alliance uh, with these countries. They basically didn't want them to have any armies except during the Cold War to have something to stand up to the former Union of Rassi. Um, and when the former Union of Rassi was dissolved in 2990 or so, there was no need for any more military in Europe as far as the um, Irope is concerned, as far as Vespuccia's requirements. So uh, they let Irope dissolve its military capabilities, and they just took over. Um, Irope thought that it was a good deal because they could spend the money on social programs and other things. But with time, they realized that it was they were getting into a trap. So earlier, they started a union here in Irope, all this almost, and it kept expanding. And since they didn't have to spend much on military, they were able to do some nice things. They spent money on projects that envied the world. And they use that also to attract new members and member states to join in. And many of them were in the eastern part and southern part of uh, Irope. But one of the biggest push was into Polyland. And Polyland was very well situated because it was a gate to Rassi and Rassibella. And when those people saw what happened to Polyland, they would, and especially Crane, they would think that it's a good deal to join them. And this is how things started. Um, they thought they could do better by joining this union. But the union was doomed from the beginning because Vespuccia didn't want any competition. And why wouldn't they want any competition? Um, First of all, the population of Irope is almost double that of Vespuccia. Technologically, they are uh, equal or sometimes even superior. And uh, the rapprochement they had with Rassi and Kitaya over the years, even decades, uh, provided them a degree of independence from Vespuccia. Um, Rassi took care of the energy and the resources for the manufacturing and other aspects of the economy. Kitaya helped with the manufacturing as well. And so Vespuccia started feeling isolated, even though they have military bases all over the world. That's not going to help much. Vespuccia prided itself over the decades or even centuries that it was protected by two oceans, the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, to the east and to the west. However, with time, it was evident that those protective oceans uh, were going to become walls that will shut Vespuccia away from the rest of the world. Uh, so they obviously wanted to be to continue being relevant. So they um, schemed to destroy Irope, unfortunately for them. And Irope are not stupid. They understood what's going on, but it was a matter of timing. And Vespuccia planned more ahead than Irope could react. So they tried to play like catch up with Vespuccia. So far as we can see, it's not working in their favor at all. They are losing big time. Um, so, and let's talk about some of the reasons why Vespuccia chose Irope to basically having it as the sacrificial lamb. Um, they could not do it directly to Rassi because of distance and the strength of Rassi. They tried to do something against Kitaya, which is not the subject of this video, which will come later, unsuccessfully. So Irope was the low-hanging fruit that they could um, do whatever they wanted to do. And why from the beginning you say that they have to um, take over, let's say, Irope's economy and destroy it and so on? These are big claims that need big explanations. Uh, the explanation is as big as 34 trillion monetary units that Vespuccia found itself in that hole. Vespuccia's system is based on um, elections and the promise to certain groups certain things. So the politicians kept promising uh, um, money and goodies to their constituencies to get re-elected. And that goes for both parties in Vespuccia. And they lived beyond their means. They spent a lot and they could not recover. They could not grow as fast economically, as fast as they were spending. So at some point, the internal debt would just blow up in their faces, and the whole country would fall into disarray and even some kind of disintegration. So that to prevent that from happening, they spent even more on social programs to keep people happy and well-fed. Um, as I say, a hungry man is an angry man. So keep their bellies full so they don't revolt. It can work to a certain extent for some time, but at some point things can change. So what happened is uh, instead of growing, they want, well, it's two things that can happen in this case. Either artificially grow or artificially draw down everybody. So if you are in a hole, instead of coming out of the hole, you want everybody else to be in the hole and even a deeper hole. So they did both. Um, a few years ago, just recently, Vespuccia enacted a law, and I would talk about, I would put in terms of push and pull policy. So the law encouraged European companies to migrate to Vespuccia, and that was not very well received in Irope at all. They hated the idea, and that was the pull. Uh, it was based on tax incentives and other things that we're not going to talk about here. Let's keep it to the experts. But that was the pull policy. The push policy came when they really forced Irope to deindustrialize And how to do that on such a large scale? Well, it's not difficult to figure it out. It's energy and resources, and energy and resources are lacking in Europe, and they depend on Russia mostly for those energy and resources. So, w- as part of Vespuccia's grand plans for the planet, and as they were um, doing all their shenanigans in Crane and to involve Rassi into um, attacking Crane. It was either attack or expand Crane into the belly of Rassi, which was unacceptable. So it was obvious that they pushed for a conflict between Rassi and Crane. And instead of keeping it that way or to maybe solely support Crane against that war, they pushed all of Irope into helping Crane first and foremost by sending a lot of money, which Irope didn't have much of it. Um, since they were really living on the margins. They were doing fine, but any money that flows into Crane means less social programs, less quality of life. Um, so anyway, they were forced to give up their money. Another thing that they did was they were forced to give up their weapons, so demilitarize Irope, in the hope that Irope will be so demilitarized that they will have two choices eventually, either to buy military equipment from Vespuccia and increase and prop up their economy, or uh, to um, uh, be just demilitarized, and they will not have any thought of rebellion against Vespuccia as the economy falters, and people will start figuring out who was the party that hurt them, and they will figure out that Rassi had nothing to do with it, and Rassi was helping them actually. So they would turn on Vespuccia. So no guns, no military hardware, just send it to Crane, destroy all of it, and Europe would be even more under Vespuccia's foot. And another thing is to cut off the energy supply and resources coming to Irope. So by creating this war between Crane and Rassi, uh, Vespuccia forced Irope to do a harakiri, to actually kill themselves, to split their stomach or belly. So they were forced to boycott Rassi, to put sanctions on Rassi. And the problem is those sanctions meant that they would not sell anything to Rassi and they would not import anything from Rassi, which was a huge problem because a lot of companies were relying on selling their products to Rassi, and they became I mean, their financial situation was negatively affected. Mm, So that was a huge problem. Um, and Rassi eventually, well, very quickly found other friends that they cultivated over decades, and they diverted the resources and the energy to them. And even they recycled that through, let's say, Yendia into Irope, and they didn't lose any money, and Yendia made more money in the process, and Irope ended up paying more for the energy. So they they lost on every aspect of they they got the short end of every deal around. Falkland is the engine of Irope is now in recession. Uh, I guess England, due to its um, ties to Vespuccia over decades and centuries, apparently got wind of all these um, policies, so they separated from the rest of Europe, so to weather the storm that is coming, and not so successfully, but at least they tried. So, and historically, we have the collapse of Europe became gradual. For example, let's say 25 years ago or so, um, Vespuccia wanted to invade Babel, and Alicia was invited to attack, and they said no, and they did not participate. But now Alicia is one of the biggest supporter of Vespuccia, and that is really sad. And Vespuccia took over Irope politically as well, um, by bribing their leaders, by forcing their leaders, by taking them into rooms and beating them up, as we saw the leader of Volksland with the uh, pouch on his eye, and he claimed that he fell down or something, but our accountants figured it out that he was beaten. So really, Irope wants to get out of this problem, but they are not able to. And they are sinking deeper and deeper into the Vespuccian quicksand. So it's a sad situation. And there is nothing in sight that can save it. So, what else are we going to talk about? Um, I guess um, I guess this will be it for this episode. I don't want to keep it too long. Let it sink in. Um, and I hope that I opened your eyes a little bit about the conflict, and to make sure you understand that what is happening in Crane, as I mentioned earlier, has nothing to do with Rassi and Crane. It's just a matter of Vespuccia destroying and taking over Irope, using Crane as a battering ram. That's the right word. So we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for your support, and have a good day.